So, you want to learn about mushrooms, but you're riddled with fear, you've got no confidence, and you don't know where to start. Carry on watching this video, and hopefully I can nudge you in the right direction to build up your confidence and enjoy the bounty of mushrooms. Now, you're certainly not alone in your fear and your lack of confidence around foraging for wild mushrooms. Many of us in England and Ireland in particular have been riddled with fear for generations around wild food in general, but it's totally invalid. You know, there are some risks out there for sure, but you know, there's risks of food at the supermarket as well. You don't prepare your chicken right and you're going to end up with some poisoning, you know, amongst many other things, as well as all of the unnatural toxins that are in the foods in the supermarket. Yeah, there are some natural toxins out here in the wild, but there's so much medicinal, tasty goodness out here too, if you know what you're looking for. And it's really not rocket science. All of this knowledge was common knowledge just a century ago, you know? The Victorians, this was super common knowledge. And in just that short space of time, many things have been lost in a century, you know? So, but it gives me confidence that it can also come back just like that. I'm a foraging instructor in the south of England, and I also create content online, and my mission is to return wild food and medicine back to common knowledge. Right, to kickstart us off, I'm out here, it's late September, and I'm in a coniferous woodland. So the conifers are they've got needles instead of broad leaves. So you've got conifers and deciduous trees. Deciduous trees being things like oak and chestnut with the broader leaves, and coniferous being things like pine and spruce with more like needles. So in this kind of terrain, something that you're going to come across in abundance is one here. This little fella. Now, this, I'm just going to walk him over into the light actually, but actually on my way over, let me just show you. So I just picked him up from there, as you've seen. We scoot on down. There's another one, and another one, another one, another one, another one. I could go on, but you get the gist. They're everywhere. So let's have a little look at this guy. So as you can see, in fact, I'm going to swap scenes and stabilize the camera. So this mushroom is a Russula. It's in the Russula genus, or the brittle gills. Now, there are a wide variety of this mushroom. They come in all sorts of different colours on the top there. You can get them in yellows, blues, greens, reds. So yeah, there's a real huge array of them, and they are super abundant for many months of the year. Now, the real ID feature with these is we're looking at that stem. So that stem is nice and firm, and one of the key ID features is the way it snaps. This will snap like a piece of chalk. Apply a bit of pressure, boom, snap. So yeah, that is a key ID feature for this mushroom. Many other genus of, well, the other genuses of mushroom just won't snap quite like that. And then when we look at these gills here, another key ID feature is the fact that they flake away when I touch them, like almond flakes. Now you can watch that. You see them just flaking away? Very flaky. So that is the brittle gills. Now I'm going to show you another method for your further identification. So yeah, what I'm about to show you is a bit of an unusual rule for identifying your mushrooms, but with the Russulas, as I said, like they come in all sorts of different colours, and you really can't be 100% sure out here in the field the exact Russula that you have. There are countless amounts of Russulas out there, and the real determining factor that we want to know as a forager is, can we eat it? Now, there aren't any fatally poisonous Russulas, so you don't have to worry about, you know, popping your clogs a munch on one of these, but we do a taste test out in the field for the Russulas. So what I'm going to do is just nibble a little piece of the cap there. Now, what I'm looking out for is, am I going to get hit with a pleasant sort of neutral mushroom flavour, or am I going to get hit with a chili spice, as if I've just eaten a little chili seed? And that fiery, peppery, chili spice will hit me within seconds. so let's do that. Just like holding it on my tongue and squishing it around. We have a winner. So this one is an edible one. That is just a neutral sort of mushroomy flavour, no spice there at all. So if I'd hit the spice there, then, you know, the British guidelines would tell you to discard and leave it. But many Eastern Europeans and other places around the world will dry out the spicy ones and use them as a seasoning, as like a spice, like you would chili. What popular one for that is the sickener, which is a red-capped Russula. Now, there's only one other Russula to mention, which is actually the prize Russula, is the charcoal burner. Now, the difference with the charcoal burner, it looks more or less, it looks the same as the Russulas, and it has a darker cap on top. But the true charcoal burner, the brittle gills are not actually brittle. So the charcoal burner is the only one where the gills won't flake away. But yeah, that's your Russulas, guys. So Russulas, like I say, so abundant for many months of the year, during like the mushroom season. They are everywhere, and they're an easy one to ID and to top up your basket with all your other finds. Yeah, they're not the best prized, most delicious mushroom out there, but amongst with all your other finds, you can always rely on throwing some Russulas in the mix, and you know, they fill a gap for sure. That's confidence level number 1 increased. Now you can safely identify and use the Russulas. Enjoy. And just to clarify, the tasting of the mushroom out in the field, like we've just done with the Russulas, is only for the Russula genus. That's not advised to be doing that with any other genus. So for your identification test, stick to doing that with the Russulas only. Right guys, listen up. I found a dodgy one, a dangerous one, a fatally poisonous one. Yeah, it's let's have a look. Can you see it? It's there. This one. This is a brown rolled rim. Now, in fact, I'll get it in the light over here and I'll show you some key ID features with this one. But yeah, you have got to have your wits about you with this one because it is everywhere. So, let's have a look. So first up, what you can notice is that it has a brown rolled rim. So this is the brown rolled rim mushroom. And one of the key features with it, if I push these gills underneath, I mean, this is an older one, so it's not gonna be quite as, but you can see that the gills, they darken with a touch there, they bruise brown. Yeah, it's even more obvious on the younger specimens. This one's quite old. It's a bit dried out. There we go, getting much darker now, just after a couple of seconds. But yeah, so that's the main ID features really. Sometimes they can be a bit depressed in the middle of the cap there, but yeah, they are super abundant. And interestingly enough as well, there was a mycologist that was, because these were considered edible for quite some time. So there was a mycologist who was really fond of them. He loved to pickle them, and he pickled them and was eating them excessively for a long period of time. And they put it down to the brown rolled rim to his sudden death. So since that incident, or around that time, they've kind of been off the menu. So brown rolled rim, quite, you know, it's an easy one to ID and those key features on there. I'm sure I'll see a few more, so I'll chuck in some other footage as well of some other ones. So yeah, really abundant, dodgy and dangerous, leave it in the woods. So I've got a couple more here. Let's bruise that cap. Yeah, it's a bit more, in the shade. A bit more like it. You can see the brown discolouring wherever I touch it. And then there's a little small one with that rolled rim again. Push him down. He's not bruising quite as obvious, but the rolled rim on him is very obvious. I suppose the only mushrooms that you might think they look like is the milk caps, but these do not exclude any milk. So yeah. Now I found another cool little interesting one. I believe it to be the orange grisette. Now there's a few grisettes out there. This one is an edible one. Yeah, it's quite hard to sort of show you. Well, let me just show you the difference. So here we've got the little sac that the grisette was coming out of, and it is in the Amanita genus, but the egg sac is slightly different on the grisettes and sort of runs its way up the stem more and is much of a looser grip around the base of the mushroom. And the tawny grisette looks very similar, but you won't see any kind of patterning on the stem there like you do on this one. So yeah, I mean the grisettes are pretty abundant. Yeah, you can see the sac on them a bit better on there. But generally speaking, if you're new to foraging, I'd sort of just leave the amanitas out for a while until you find your feet with some of the more easier genuses and mushrooms out there. But yeah, orange grisette, another edible. Yeah, the reason I say avoid the amanitas as a beginner is because we have some fatally poisonous members in that genus, such as the death cap, which is responsible for 90% of the world's fatalities. And then we've got, to mushroom poisoning, and then we've got things like the destroying angel, another really deadly toxic mushroom. So yeah, there are some great edibles out there. We've got some grisettes that are edible, and then you've got things like the blusher and the grey spotted amanita as well. So, you know, but they're for later on down the line, once you've built up your confidence and you've come across these mushrooms and the amanitas multiple times, you've crossed paths and you've inspected them and studied them. And then over time, when you keep seeing them and building up that familiarity, suddenly the confidence will just click, and you know, you'll recognize the distinct features to keep you safe. You'll spot a blusher and you'll see like, oh, there's the lines on the skirt. I've seen that multiple times, and I've seen multiple other amanitas without the lines on the skirt, importantly. So yeah, don't rush it, enjoy the ride, and amanitas are for later on down the trip. Right, another whole group and genus of mushroom that I'm going to show you. Well, I'm not going to give you a great example to show you here in the now, but I will put in some other ones. This guy is called a beefsteak mushroom. Now, I've done quite a lot of content over the beefsteak mushroom, so I'll chuck a bit of that in there now. But this one is looking a little bit worse for wear. He's not in good nick at all. And actually his mate down here is in an even worse situation. So, but, oh, look at that, grimy. But yeah, the point that I'm making about the bracket fungus is they are a really great genus and family for you guys to start off with, as we don't have any fatally poisonous bracket or shelf-like fungus. So these mushrooms are shaped like a bracket or a shelf, and they don't have a stem. So that is an important feature, that they are just like a solid bracket coming out of the side of a living tree or some dead wood, a fallen log, that sort of thing. We've got some great edibles in the bracket genus, and we've also got some great medicinal ones in there too. They're a great place to start. Once you find one, sort of narrow it down, try and ID that one and know that you're in a safe ballpark for investigation. Now, the only other bracket that you'd need to be concerned about is the cinnamon bracket. It's super rare, I've never found it, but it can give you a bit of a dodgy belly. It's pretty distinctive, doesn't look like the others, so get to know the cinnamon bracket and then you're totally safe within the brackets. Right, I can show you a quick amanita here just now, so have a look down there. You can see all the warts on top of the cap. That's a strong indication that it's in that genus. Pull one of these up. Oh, they're pretty old. But yeah, you can see at the base there is very bulbous, and that is the egg sac that it started off at. And in the centre here, we can see the skirt. So now this is a good example of how faint some of the identification can be. So we're still looking for those lines on the stem. I'll see if I can get the camera to pick it up. There, you can see them a little bit there. So yeah, extremely faint. But you can see the sort of blushing colour still on the stem of this one. Although as it's got so old, it's almost gone sort of grey orangey. But yeah, so that's the blusher, an old mature blusher. These can be a really great edible when found in good condition, but as mentioned before, hang fire on these ones. Right guys, I've stumbled across something that I was really trying to find today, but unfortunately I think I've arrived at the party a little bit late. But we have the prize mushroom at this time of year. Ta-da! The porcini. And he's got another little mate over here. He's also got a few more over there as well. Ooh, there we go, tucked in there. But yeah, like I say, unfortunately, they are looking a little bit old. But this genus is perfect for me to explain a few rules within it because it's such a great beginner-friendly genus of mushrooms with some high-grade edibles in it. So let's dive into it. Let's have a look. He might be salvageable. Ah, no. No. No, he is... Well, I mean, if you were in a real pinch, yeah, you could salvage him. What's he like? Yeah, no, not ideal. Not ideal at all. But, I mean, again, if you were in a pinch and you tried that out, you'd still get some nice flavour out of it to make like a cream sauce or something. But it's been such an amazing years for the penny buns this year, and I've got a massive haul of them really. I mean, not over the top, but you know, I've dehydrated enough to get me through the winter, and so I can be a little bit picky this year. So yeah, the boletes. Let's get into it. So the boletes family are the mushrooms that have sponge-like appearance under the cap. So they have pores instead of gills. So when we're looking for the boletes, we look underneath the cap and see the pores there, and then we're in the boletes ball game, the boletes family. Now, in that genus, we have no fatally poisonous ones. So it's again another safe genus for the beginner to start with, as there isn't any fatally toxic mushrooms within it. However, there are some specimens that could cause gastric upset, especially if not cooked properly. And the ones that, I mean, the real warrior is the devil's bolete that can cause that gastric upset and sickness. And there's a rule to avoid any of the toxic members and to only take home the prize boletes, such as the porcini, as well as a few other prize boletes like the pine bolete, the bronze bolete, the summer bolete, all very similar to the porcini. And the rule that will keep you safe within this genus is to avoid any red or blue. So that is red staining, well, red colouring on the mushroom itself, and then when the flesh is exposed, so slice the mushroom down the middle, look at the flesh inside, and does it stain blue? Yeah, there are some edibles that are red and blue, such as the scarlatina bolete, but to really just stay super safe as a beginner, you can avoid the red and blue and stay totally safe within the genus, which makes these mushrooms a great place for you guys to start. So that's it for today, guys. I hope that you have been nudged in the right direction to your mushroom foraging journey and that you've gained a little bit more confidence in it. I really do feel that it is an opportunity that all of us can grasp, is to go out and find our wild food. With just a few simple steps, we can stay safe and enjoy the abundance out there. Although this afternoon foraging for me, making this video, there wasn't quite an abundance of mushrooms for me. But I did get an abundance of watermint. I absolutely love watermint. That's for another episode, but I suppose I could leave you with, if you find a plant out in the wild and it has a square stem, so a square formation on the stem, and it stinks of mint, then it's a mint, as all the mints have a square stem and opposing leaves. But yeah, back to the mushrooms. I hope you guys get on out there and grab yourself a bounty to take home and enjoy. There's plenty more content that I've made as well around foraging throughout the seasons. So you can check out the Foraging Through the Calendar playlist on YouTube here. And yeah, I'm doing episodes each month, walking us through what we can find at that time of the year. So yeah, if you're not subscribed, please do, as it helps the channel loads, and like the video, share, stick us down a comment as well and say hello. Thanks for watching, guys. I'll see you on the next one.
Thank you.
Oh, thank you so much.